from the City of Angels, you are listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On today's episode, we will talk about some pop culture, politics, and futurism. So let me strike the music, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, I am the Father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Engage.
And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast, where pop culture, politics, and futurism collides. Hi, I'm your host, James Salazar, aka The Media. What's up, savages? I hope you had a great weekend. I am excited to talk about all the latest news in futurism and in politics and in pop culture. Gotta watch a couple of fights. Political gamesmanship is going on. But in a personal note, I just moved from the city of West Covina to the city of Whittier, East Los Angeles adjacent. And yeah, it was a pain in the ass, but we got through it. It was a little bit low podcast, as you know. I'm trying to do a new platform, more shows, but not as long. Yeah, it was good, and we finished it, and we're in our new place, and now we just gotta unload everything and start decorating the house. So that's that. There were some great fights this weekend. Awesome. There was also Donald Trump declaring a national emergency to get funding for the wall. A couple of things in futurism I want to address. So let's get into it now. So let's get into what happened this weekend in some pop culture. I got two things I want to talk about. There was a lot of MMA events, two from Bellator and one from the UFC. And the two from... And what I want to talk about is, ironically, all of them were pretty much a dud. And... it wasn't all the undercards of each event. There were three events, one Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Two Bellator events on Friday and Saturday, and Sunday was UFC. And the first one was Sergey Kharitonov versus Matt Mitrione. In the beginning of the fight, he kicks him in the nuts, and that was the end of the fight. He couldn't recover, so that was a dud. And then an exciting fight: Michael Venom Page versus Simtek's Paul Daly. The people were hoping for a barn burner war of punches, and. But Daly, who's always been the victim of people taking him down and ground and pounding him, and because he has such a strong punch, people are afraid just to deal with that. Famous scene in the MMA world is Josh Koscheck dominating him on the floor and getting so upset. Paul Daly from, I think I say Tim Daly. I say Paul Daly getting so upset that after the bout, he throws a punch at Josh Koscheck, which kicks him out of the UFC. But so ironically, we come around here. Here's a dramatic, dynamic fighter in Michael Venom Page, and a dynamic fighter with Paul Daly, and he takes him down. So that's not what anybody wanted to watch. They wanted to see these two people beat the shit out of each other with their fists and with their kicks, and one half of the equation says he's not doing that, which some people feel it was an acknowledgement that the guy was better on stand-up than he was. But this is not boxing. This is not kickboxing. This is MMA. So, and taking someone down, neutralizing their weapons, and beating them up in such a fashion is perfectly fine for MMA. And then we go to the last, the UFC. It was Francis Ngannou versus Cain Velasquez, and that ended up as a dud. Controversial, not so much controversial, but people are actually split on how they think this was happening. Cain Velasquez gets knocked out, or does he get knocked out? Because in the replay, it looks like he actually popped out. He broke, busted his knee, and he ends up grabbing his knee. And some people, but there's one punch timed exactly at the same time as his leg is slipping and popping and knee is popping. He gets an uppercut. So half the people think, no, he got knocked down because of the punch. The other brother says, no, the punch was nothing. It was really his knee. And why is this important? Because if Cain goes down because of the punch, that means he don't have a chin anymore, and or he just subject to or Francis's vicious and aggressive fighting style, backed up by his power. Is this a product? If this is all happening because Cain can't do it anymore, or this just bad luck, it's very important, because we need to figure out whether he should be doing this. Is his time past, or he has a series of bad luck, and one more he needs to fix, but he can still come back as dominant as he says and as we hope he is. But, it didn't go well for him. I wish him the best of luck, but sometimes when a fire burns so bright, it burns out. So I hope a speedy recovery. I hope they really are honest about the results, because he knows deep in his heart if that's an uppercut that made him lay out, or was it a blown out knee. And he hasn't made another self-evaluation whether it is the starting of a host of new injuries, or this is freak and he's really all healed up and you have to heal this one thing. A lot of questions for Cain, unfortunately, because I'm a big fan. I was rooting for him. So yeah, those three ended. Two ended really, really quick, and one didn't go as it should have, or didn't have the fireworks that people wanted or were expected. Some futurism. Simtex, Paul Daly, and Vernon the Tiger White. I think that's his middle name. At least that's what it sounds like it should be. And also in pop culture, I saw Alita Battle Angel. Now, this movie looks amazing. Alita, it would have to be the best animation I've seen in a long time. Almost seamless. You know she's not real. You know she's still animated. You can't help that yet. But man, you forget really quick. And the character was charismatic and engaging. Actors need to beware. If a robot, now this is using the base of a human actor, But the faces are quite different. But similar, but quite different, where they were articulating her facial gestures, where the computer was. And man, there I see in the near future, 10 years from now, a lot of movie characters and movie leads will be some animated character supported by human characters. I mean, Alita was the most engaging person in that movie. And it's a really good movie, action-packed, open-ended for another one, but looks really amazing. The story's really cool, and it just touches the base of what should be happening. And yeah, definitely. And it's not a kids movie. It's PG-13, but there's some devastating murders in that movie. So yeah, but I give it a thumbs up. I say definitely watch it, especially if you're into anime. Watch it. But it's still a great story, and supported by a great cast. And I give it a thumbs up. Watch Alita Battle Angel. So Donald Trump declared a national emergency so he can get the rest of the funding that he needs for the wall. And there's two ways to look at this. This, number one, could be potentially a violating the Constitution, and once again, the Democrats feel weird defending the Constitution, but it's to their political advantage for them to act like the Constitution is important, so they can stop the president from acting unilaterally, which he will then say Barack Obama acted unilaterally, so can I. And a lot of people think that this is a cop-out. This is a loss for Donald Trump, because he knows he's going to lose this constitutional battle, and then he can go back to his constituents and say, hey, I tried everything I had to do. They stopped me at every corner. We need to get them out for the next election for me to put up the wall. Yada, yada, yada. He's able to still say he's working on his campaign promise, but the real way to get it done, and the unpopular for some and unpopular to others, is that he once again asked for $5 billion and threatens to shut down the government. And I think this time around it would have been more successful, because he was able to state his case during the State of the Union. We see through the polls that people like how he's handling the immigration issue, and momentum's on his side. Him doing this, I don't know. Some people think it's a cop out. If he can get his money, and then it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. And then they try to not overthrow, impeach him because of an unconstitutional act. So we'll see how this plays out. But most people thought he was going to just go right back to the government shutdown and, let the Democrats in this coming election cycle be against the wall or border security. So we'll see what happens there. But 16 states are suing over Trump's national emergency declaration. They don't want it to happen. And Bernie Sanders announced that he's going to run for office, and we'll see if he does good. I think his time might have passed, and as long as his cohort Cortez is saying naive and foolish things and pie in the sky legislation, and they will attach, and she's a proud socialist. They're going to attach that millstone called Alexandria Cortez around Bernie's neck, and say he's just like her. At the end of the day, they're two peas in a pod. I'm reading something that's terrifying. It said Mexican businesswoman decapitated after her family wouldn't pay ransom. We must keep our standard of living in the United States. If we become all loose and goosey with our borders and our laws and how we see things, people's standards of living fall and they creep in, and we must demand that anyone who does come over and who wants to assimilate and who wants to be a part of American life, and we can debate how that should happen successfully. They must live to the standards of how Americans live. Now, I know that's so varied, but the ideal. Lawlessness in the streets, people being kidnapped and decapitated, that's a step up for in American society of doing heinous things. But as long as we have a police force that is mostly uncorrupt and mostly not racist, and there are states where the death penalty still exists, people will not risk kidnapping people and murdering them. But if you live in a society where cops are corrupt, they can never help you, the laws are corrupt, there is no death penalty, so that means they can either go from the squalors of Mexico with no food and water, kidnap somebody, murder them, and then get jail for life and get fed. So it's sort of a no-brainer for the Trump orders federal agencies to prioritize AI. So he's sort of worried about it too. If China and Russia are seeking AI to defeat the United States as well as every other advantage, but that's one of the major advantage, is to break us down as one of our hyperpower. Donald Trump will definitely, or the United States needs to definitely jump right into that. Space and artificial intelligence is the new Cold War, my friends. You will see. You have heard it first here, or unless you heard it from somebody else, somewhere else. But I'll just assume I said it first until you tell me I haven't. And you can do that at jamessalazarmedia@gmail.com. Go right ahead and tell me. And if you can prove that someone else said it first, I will definitely give them the credit. I don't have no ego in this regard. But as far as I'm concerned, until I hear it, I said it first. And I'm saying Cold War, the new Cold War is going to be with artificial intelligence and the ground we make in space. That's right. Scientists are using AI to find hotel rooms being used for child sex trafficking. Well, there you go. There is a good way to use artificial intelligence. People in Mars. Everybody has an attitude. Everybody's serious. Everybody's all like business. And no one can joke. No one's funny. Oh my God, they'll kill each other. They'll need somebody just to lighten the mood. Definitely, that would have to be one of the parameters of characteristics of people going up there, that everybody has a light demeanor. I mean, only the super technical people, I mean, if you have to get somebody that's super technical, but, there are people that are super smart and super emotionally smart, or emotional intelligence. That's, you can't have nothing but assholes up there. They'll kill each other. Definitely, I agree with that. They will need a class clown. Humans need class clowns and funny people on Earth, let alone in space. Out of what study? I mean, this is obvious. If we needed, just in our mundane lives, someone, the friend who's funny, we like going out with them, we like hanging around with them, we like joking around with them, and our life would feel a little less without that individual in it. Then you could make a no-brainer that you'll need that in space. SpaceX Starship is tougher than any NASA project ever. Cool. Yeah, definitely. I mean, good. Humans need to meet the challenge. You know what? Not all geniuses can get shit done. They just do calculations, and they stare out into the space, and they try to make things happen. But they got to give it to people to get it done. Elon Musk is a special kind of genius because he not only dreams and helps out with the specifications and think of ideas of how to advance humans into space, he also funds it and runs the business of it. And he gets it done himself. That's admirable. I mean, Albert Einstein, he just thought about stuff. He rarely implemented anything. Put it down on a piece of paper, and people ran with it. And voila, nuclear bomb. Just want to give you a little bit. There's your daily dose of pop culture, politics, and futurism. Hey, you can follow me on all social media platforms. Just type in James Salazar Media, and I should come up. If you want to check out my services, go to jamessalazarmedia.com. And if you have any questions about what I said, if you disagree, if you agree, if you just want to tell me about your ingrown toenail, I don't care. Just put it in an email, and I'll read it. So until then, my friends, until the storms of life come against you hard and you find yourself on your knees, I say stand up, look at the storm, and raise your head up high and say what my sensei, Jack Burton, always says: give me your best shot.
It's one small step for man, one